Well, the manhunt for 6 escaped inmates from the Orleans Justice Center in Louisiana is intensifying now in its 5th day. Authorities have recaptured 4 of the 10 inmates who broke out early Friday morning by removing a toilet and cutting through a wall. Now, the latest capture occurred yesterday evening in New Orleans. The remaining fugitives are considered dangerous, with charges ranging from murder to armed robbery.
And in a significant development, Sterling Williams, a 33-year-old maintenance worker at the jail, has been arrested and charged with 10 counts. Williams allegedly turned off the water supply to the inmate's cell, facilitating their escape, then through that wall.
Meanwhile, surveillance footage has surfaced showing 2 of the escapees walking through the French Quarter law enforcement agencies, including the FBI and U.S. Marshals. They're actively searching for the remaining escapees now, offering a $20,000 reward.
Joining us now to discuss, retired FBI Supervisory Special Agent Scott Duffy, plus former FBI agent and former member of the elite hostage rescue team, Greg Shaffer. Gentlemen, good to see you both. Greg, we're going to get to this maintenance worker in a second, but how do you begin to track down and continue to track down the escapees here?
Well, they're going to use both electronic surveillance, physical surveillance. They're going to contact every family member and known associate for the ones who are still escaped. They'll go up on phones to find out if they're talking or anyone's talking about these individuals or where they may be hiding. So it's a full court press by both the marshals and the FBI to locate these individuals. And again, they are just doing a lot of good tricks in the toolbox that we have out there to capture these individuals as it relates to both electronic and physical surveillance techniques.
Scott, let's get to Sterling Williams, a 33-year-old maintenance worker who has been arrested and charged with 10 counts of principal to simple escape and malfeasance. He admitted that one of the escapees asked him to turn off the water supply to the cell through which they escaped, and that he did that without reporting it to authorities. Now, that is what we know so far. We don't know if he was in on it to any other extent. But how much does some involvement like that help this type of operation, and what potentially might we learn about Sterling Williams and how?
Yeah, as Greg was saying, this is a full court press, so you have people on the inside, and of course, you have your multiple fugitive task forces doing the work on the outside to apprehend the remaining 6. So when you have something of this magnitude, there are security, intel breaches, and to have one employee already charged, to me, probably is just the first of several. So you have an individual like this that participates a little bit by turning off the water, but it's hard to keep these type of things quiet. And so I believe other employees would equally be involved to some extent to allow something like that to have happened.
Greg, hard for the staff there at the jail to prevent a prison break if there is an inside job, and to the point just made here, maybe if there's even more just beyond the maintenance worker, there's others involved here. Pretty hard to stop, no?
Well, yeah, they're going to incentivize the individual who's arrested who turned the water off. They will give him a deal to talk with the authorities and to identify other people in that prison that did help with the escape. As Scott pointed out, this is certainly, undoubtedly, an inside job. There will be, I think, a multitude of other employees in that jail or that prison system that will be identified as to helping these individuals escape. Just having one maintenance worker turn off the water, he was no man on the totem pole. There had to be a lot of other individuals involved in this massive escape.
Scott, back to the remaining escapees. Reportedly, the most dangerous is still out there and has not been captured yet. And again, there's been surveillance footage, as we know, of these escapees in various places in the area. From your experience, when you have a break like this, where do these people go? What do they try to do? I've heard that as they get desperate, they may do lower level break-ins to get food and shelter. But how do you usually track these people down, or where? Like, what is going through their head? Where are they trying to hide, essentially?
Yeah, great question. So it is, in my experience, having been a part of many fugitive apprehension investigations, that they are typically local. And so they put a lot into this, as you could see 10. 10 made it out. I can guarantee you others were thinking about it and probably thought differently, knowing that there's going to be additional charges. So they're going to be local, and that's because their escape plan was to get out, but they probably didn't have too much by way of what their plan would be beyond the walls of the prison and getting across that highway. So as we already know, 4 were found locally. My belief, the other 6 are still local. They're going to jump from family to friends to wherever they can get a little bit of shelter, some food. And then it could turn into a long game where they might actually get out of that jurisdiction.
Again, so they don't really think what they're doing once they get out. They just want to get out. All right.
Right.
We really appreciate your insight. Great conversation, Scott and Greg. Thanks.
Thank you.
Coming up, 60 Minutes correspondent Scott Pelley has some advice for the graduating class of 2025. Stand up to the Trump administration. We're going to get into it on The Other View.
But first, the Department of Homeland Security conducting its first self-deport flight. 64 illegal immigrants, illegal aliens, taking $1,000, leaving the country. So people are actually doing